I have the invocation by Lanny Brent, then join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Would you stand, please? Father God, we're so blessed to be here this evening to do the business of the residents of Camden County. Father, we'd like to thank you for all the blessings that you bestow upon us. Father, be with us tonight as we make the decisions that benefit all of Camden County. For this we pray in your most glorious name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Katie, please.
All commissioners are present.
Okay. All right. Are there any amendments to the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make an amendment. I'd like item 9 deleted from the agenda this evening. That has been hammered enough. And it's time that we put that to rest. It's no need in continuing on with this raid.
Do we have a second on that?
I'll second that.
Okay. We got a motion to remove item 9. Any discussion?
Would you clarify what item 9 is, please? I most certainly will. Mr. Goodman, discuss termination of the county attorney. The thing you didn't get a second on last meeting when you tried to get it brought up.
All right, we got a first and a second. All those in favor of removing item 9? Those opposed?
Goodman opposed.
All right, item 9 is removed from the agenda. Okay. Any others? All right, can we get a motion to adopt the agenda as presented?
So moved.
I have an amendment to the agenda. I can't pull the number up right now, but it's in reference to the PSA item.
Okay, so you want to amend the agenda?
We need to clarify that there has been a change in the process by which the county makes its recommendations. It's no longer to the Attorney General or to the district attorneys. It is to a PSA, and the sheriff may have some comments that he wishes to make about that tonight.
Okay. I'll second that.
Thank you.
We got a first and a second. We'll add that as, we vote on it, we'll add that as item number 12.
11.
Well, we're
Taking 9 away.
yeah. It'll be the last item anyway. All right, we got a first and a second. Any more discussion on it? All those in favor?
What is it we're voting on?
We're going, I think Mr. Goodman is going to make a motion to amend the resolution as far as the prosecution of the PSA.
We need to deliver the mail to the correct address. It's no longer the Attorney General. So there's a process now that's changed. Who's it going to now? It is an organization that's been vested with the authority to respond to it. It's the PSA, which
Well, actually, it's not, it's the
not PSA.
Prosecuting Attorneys Council.
Yes,
is
I'm
where it
from
needs to be.
PAC. PAC, prosecute.
All right, we got a first and a second. All those in favor? Those opposed? Okay. All right, now can we get the motion for adopting the agenda as presented?
Motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
Second.
All those in favor? Those opposed? All right, motion carries. Okay, this brings us to the approval of the minutes for the March 7th public hearing and regular minutes.
I have an exception to the minutes.
Okay,
During the meeting, I had a motion on the table that was never given its chance to pass or fail. Is that not correct, Madam Clerk? think she said you absented.
Yes.
So it's on the-
Was item 12.
Okay, can you let me read that? Sorry to take this time, but I'll be very brief. Commissioner Goodman amended his previous motion. Commissioner Reddick amended his second to it. Release of the Spaceport documents not related to a litigation where the county is not named the defendant. Commissioner Goodman withdrew the amended motion. Chairman Casey made an intervening motion. I think after that point, I restated my motion. I think that the newspaper even correctly reported it. I'd like to have that reviewed.
Well, you've got it on the agenda for tonight as well, so,
Okay, so I will review that tonight.
okay,
Thank you.
all right. All right, so can I get a motion to approve the minutes for March 7th meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Second, first and second, all those in favor? Those opposed? Okay. All right, this brings us to presentations. This is a presentation for the St. Mary's River Management Committee report.
Mr. Chairman, we have circulated the annual report, the 2022 version of the St. Mary's River Management Committee. I currently serve on the committee along with Scott Brazel, Rick Fry, yourself. And we have made that available to you all in the package. The main issue concerning the St. Mary's River Management Committee at this time is the Twin Pines permit over in Charlton County, and the committee recently sent a letter to the EPD regarding the groundwater withdrawal permit during the public comment process, asking that they consider the river gauge at Moniac as well as the McClenny gauge in Florida for monitoring water withdrawal on that project. The St. Mary's River watershed would be impacted by that project in the event of runoff. The water withdrawal would be the issue that applies mostly to the Okefenokee, and that's a Charlton County issue. But the Camden County issue would be eventual runoff, and the committee has addressed that with public comment. So that's the major issue facing the committee at this point, and we would ask that you consider the presentation of the annual report.
All right, thank you. All right, this brings us to public comments. This is comments regarding items that are been adopted to the agenda. Any other comments will have to wait to the end of the meeting. Public comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Are any registered speakers, Katie?
Yes, sir. The first is Mr. Ricky Manning.
Yeah. All right, before you start, Ricky, we've got a light here that's set for 3 minutes. Green means you're on the clock. Yellow means you got 1 minute left. Red, time's over.
I'll be quick, Ben.
All right, you ready?
Rick Manning from Bullhead. My light's green, I can speak. I'm here to speak on behalf of the library funding. I don't know why we keep hashing this issue out. All the citizens, I travel this county several times a week in all the surrounding counties. Nobody is against this board funding this library. This library does a lot of good things. You know, we need to look out for the people in this county. We can spend money buying Tahoes and everything else, but we sit here hashing and carrying on about 30 grand for something that's doing some good in this county. I cannot understand if it's a control problem or what's going on with this, but this is nonsense. This library does good. It don't matter if it's in Woodbine or where it's at. If it's part of the county library system or what, it is for the people of this county. Y'all are for the people of this county, and you're supposed to represent them. This is not a power struggle. Who's on this board? I mean, let's do what's right for the people. That's what the people want. I have yet to come to one of these meetings and hear somebody come up here and complain or say that they don't want the funding for the library. Everybody that spoke is for the funding of this library, period. Yet here we are hashing this out again. I mean, come on here, let's drop one of these Tahoes off. Let's not buy his expansion to his little pet party gun range, but we can fund what's good for the citizens, period. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Rick.
Mr. Paul Harris.
Never got past the green, did he?
Paul Harris?
Did you say he was here?
He'll be late, so keep him on the list, please.
Okay.
I'm John Culver. I live in St. Mary's. On item 10, about the Spaceport records. I support Commissioner Goodwin's call to have all the Spaceport records released that aren't part of ongoing litigation. I urge the board to release this information as the residents of this county have the right to know how our taxes are spent. I haven't heard a valid reason for this information to be kept from the public. I hope when this information becomes available in time, I'm confident it will be, that these expenditures will be shown to be legitimate. The taxpayers of this county don't need another fiasco like we've endured with the PSA. On item 9 that for some reason has been removed from the agenda, I support Commissioner Goodwin's call to terminate the county commission's relationship with the attorney.
Oh, that item's been removed, sir.
Well, it wasn't removed when I looked on the agenda this morning.
Well, I'm sorry.
I'm spending 3 hours of my time to come in here and address my representatives, and I want my 3 minutes. First, I suppose the county attorney encouraged the county commission to attempt to ignore the voter referendum prohibiting purchase of the toxic waste site for use as the Spaceport launch site. Bad legal advice. How much did this cost me?
Drag your comments to me, sir.
Secondly, I'll look where I want.
No, you won't.
I will.
Your time, you got 1 minute.
Secondly, I suppose that the county attorney supports the attempt to ignore open records laws, hiding where the Spaceport money went and continues to go. More bad legal advice. How much is this costing me? Third, my understanding is that the county attorney refuses to avail Commissioner Goodwin the same legal services as the rest of the board enjoy, citing conflicts with a lawsuit that has already been settled. The taxpayers deserve competent legal representation for their money. I don't think we're receiving competent legal representation from the current county attorney.
Thank you for your comment. Anybody else, Katie?
Unless Mr. Harris has arrived. No, I don't know.
Yes.
He's here.
Oh, Paul Harris.
My name is Paul Harris, 400 Barkentine Drive, St. Mary's, Georgia. I didn't have the privilege of hearing all of the comments of the previous speaker, but the last part that I heard, I would like to associate myself with those comments as well in terms of the representation this board and the residents of this county are getting from the current attorney. As I said in the last meeting that I attended, I really encourage the commissioners to think long and hard about the steps that they're taking from the beginning of this year, from the last meeting, from this meeting forward, spending more taxpayer dollars on the Spaceport. The Spaceport is dead. The Supreme Court of the state of Georgia put the final nail in the coffin. That is not something about which reasonable people can argue. And if the county attorney or this board is spending any more money on legal fees for any legal fights that may be going on, whether you're suing or they're suing or the county attorney is suing a judge or whatever nonsense is going on, it's over. That is simply not something about which reasonable people can disagree. The Spaceport project is done and finished. And if there is some Pyrrhic thing going on that you're going to sue a Fortune 500 company for specific performance on a real estate contract or some other total nonsense with our tax dollars, that's a transparent sham and an effort to go on generating fees for something that doesn't exist. You five gentlemen are well-credentialed and intelligent, and it's time to see and understand and admit the status of this project and stop spending money. Period. There's going to be forensic accounting rearward looking to figure out what happened to the $13 million, but you'll do yourselves as individuals a great credit if you stop the bleeding now. There is no justification for spending $1 on anything to do with the spaceport going forward, legal matters or otherwise. And if you're being advised by the county attorney something different, you should get other counsel that is objective and that doesn't have a horse in the race. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. That's all. Anybody else wish to speak?
Good evening. Terry Keller from the great city of Camden. I would like to personally thank Jim Goodman for living up to his name. He is a good man. I'd like to thank him and everyone else who has stood up for the people of Camden, who are desperate for some representation when it came to the spaceport. Thank you, Mr. Goodman, and everybody else who helped. Trevor, who did what they're supposed to do, represent their constituents and what they want, which is to stop throwing good money after bad. And there's not much worse money than funding for flying rockets over occupied private property on Cumberland Island and Little Cumberland Island. You may want to look at a map or some other factual source of information before taking on a $12 million project with our hard-earned tax money next time. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Dave Rayner, Woodbine, and I just want to thank you for listening to the residents of this county. I've been a part of the NASA Speakers Bureau since '85, and every time I go to the schools, I have an enthusiastic audience of young people that are interested in research, technology, and STEM programs. So thank you for representing those folks that need to have a future. What I want to say is in space news, the FAA forecast surge in commercial launch activity, February 21st, 2023, by Jeff Faust. And if we're going to say that we're chasing, we're throwing good money after bad, let's go to where the experts are, not to folks that have been kicked out of the HOA Association. Forecast was included in the National Spaceport's policy report, but the FAA submitted to Congress earlier in the month. The report required a provision of the 2018 FAA Reauthorization Act. The report noted that there were 74 licensed commercial space operations in the fiscal year. So the report, let's see, it says that the report does not discuss the forecast, but the FAA is in recent years has underestimated actual commercial space activity. It predicted between 45 and 68 licensed operations in fiscal year 21, and it predicted 36 and 44 licensed operations, and there were actually 64.
The report recently published on the FAA's website was released by Kevin Coleman, FAA Associate Administrator.
You got 1 minute.
We certainly see that 2023 as a year of opportunity for spaceports, he said in an audience of space operators and companies that support spaceport development. He noted that the FAA's Office of Spaceports has been working with federal and other officials to identify current challenges that might hinder their success while planning the space ecosystem of the future. One challenge in the report is that with the growth in the number of licensed spaceport, launch activity remains cluttered in a few locations, including Cape Canaveral Space Force and Kennedy Space Center, which are virtually out of room to support the launch activity.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak before the board? All right, seeing none. At this time, I need a motion to adjourn the regular meeting and convene the first public hearing tonight on the hotel-motel tax increase.
So moved.
This is just for the unincorporated areas of the county.
Second.
All right, we got a first and a second. All in favor? All right. And Joey, who's doing it?
Nancy should be. Yeah, she should.
Yeah,
be.
Chairman, it's Nancy. I'm calling in. So the background to this is
Hold on real quick,
the
Nancy. They're trying to get the volume situated here.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think you're good now. Yeah, that's better now.
Okay. So this hotel motel tax is a tax levied on lodging in the unincorporated tax district of the county. The tax is remitted directly to the county by the lodging facilities and includes Airbnbs and VRBOs. The proposed increase is to raise the tax from 5% to 6%. Currently, annual revenue at 5% is projected at about $167,000 annually. And 3 of that 5% is distributed to the city's tourism and convention authorities and also the Chamber of Commerce. And the board has also committed funding to the Thiokol Memorial Project. By raising the tax to 6%, the tax is expected to produce an additional $33,000 annually. In order to raise the tax to 6%, there must be 2 public hearings and a resolution from the commissioners to the General Assembly requesting this increase, and the General Assembly must approve it. That's just a little background on it.
All right, thank you, Nancy. Does anyone
You're
wish to
welcome.
speak in favor of this item? Anybody wish to speak in opposition? All right, seeing none, at this time, we need a motion to adjourn the first public hearing and convene the second public hearing.
So moved.
We have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Motion carries. And this is to receive comments from the public regarding the Camden County Joint Comprehensive Plan.
Hi, I'm Hannah Mandillo. I'm a regional planner for the Coastal Regional Commission. A member of our staff was here last summer to announce the beginning of the Joint Camden Comprehensive Planning process. The purpose of comp planning is to update the community vision and reassess the needs and opportunities of the county. It also fulfills the state of Georgia's requirements for qualified local government status for state funding. I'm here today to announce that a draft will be available for local review and public comment next Thursday, March 30th. This will be the start of the required 40-day local review period and will end on May 8th. To make comments, you are to go to the Coastal Regional Commission website and review the 2023 draft plan. There will be a form on there to provide your comments, or you can email them directly to a Coastal Regional Commission staff member. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody from the public want to speak in favor of this item? Anybody wish to speak in opposition? All right, seeing none, at this time we need a motion to adjourn the second public hearing and reconvene the regular meeting.
Motion to adjourn to public hearing number 2 and reconvene the regular meeting, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All those in favor? Motion carries. All right, this brings us to item number 1 on the regular agenda. Mr. Cheney, that is you.
Chairman Cheney, Camden County Sheriff's Office. Good evening, Commissioners and Chairman. Come to you tonight asking for approval of $27,350 for a concrete slab for the K-9 addition at the training center on Highway 17, just north of Harris Bluff Road. This facility will help house up to 10 K-9s. It'll be a place for storage, also an office space and a wash rack for the K-9s. This item was already budgeted of $75,000 of this year's budget, and we're asking for $27,000 to be approved.
Can we get a motion on this item?
Make a motion to approve for $27,350.
Second.
We'll go first and second. Any discussion? No? All right. We'll call for a vote. All those in favor? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item number 2. Lieutenant Fed.
Good evening, members of the board. How y'all doing this evening?
All right.
This is for consideration of approval for Camden County Sheriff's Office to purchase 20 Axon tasers through ARPA. Board previously approved $87,500 for 25 tasers. The price per taser has increased since that meeting. For the approval now, we are now able to get 20 tasers in order to stay within our budget. We're asking for approval to purchase these 20 tasers through ARPA funding.
All right. Can I get a motion on this item?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, go first and second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. All right, item number 3, I believe this is Nancy again? Or who
Yes,
is-
sir. Yes, this agenda item is for your consideration to approve the fiscal agent designation and acceptance of an agreement for fiscal year 24 for the Family Connection Camden. Georgia Family Connection is dedicated to the health and well-being of families and communities, empowering all 159 counties to craft local solutions based on local decisions. Funding is provided by the Georgia General Assembly. In Camden County, Family Connection Camden is the local Georgia Family Connection entity, and the Camden County Board of Commissioners would serve as a fiscal agent for the Family Connection Camden. And this would really be a pass-through for the county. There's no funding. It's all funded by the General Assembly. It would just be a matter of paying and submitting reimbursements. And the budget is approximately $52,500.
Okay. Can I get a motion on this item?
Have a question? Does the Board of Commissioners have representation on the board of the Family Connections?
Not that I'm aware of.
I question whether we should be a funding partner in any,
Well, we're not funded. We're just acting as an
as an
pass-through
intermediary.
Yes.
So this is not
We're
something.
not funding.
We're just acting as a conduit.
Thank you.
All right, can I get a motion on this item?
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All right, we got a first and a second. All those in favor? Motion carried. All right, this brings us to item number 4. This is Nancy again.
Yes, this item is approval of the resolution raising the current hotel-motel tax rate from 5% to 6%. And the county currently levies a 5% hotel-motel tax, as I had stated earlier. And the commission seeks to increase the tax to 6% rate as allowed under the state code. OCGA 481351 allows for graduated rates of taxation levied for hotel-motel accommodations furnished within the county. And local legislation is required to raise the rate above 5%. There's a resolution that is attached to your package, and there is one change on that. On page number 1, the second paragraph from the bottom, the last sentence, and it's to adopt a hotel excise tax. Right now, it says up to 8% authorized pursuant to OCGA 481351B, and it should read that it is 6% of up to 8% authorized by pursuant to OCGA 481351. So we're requesting approval as amended.
I'll make the motion to approve the resolution as amended to increase the hotel and motel tax.
I'll second.
All right, we got a first and a second to increase the hotel motel tax in the unincorporated area. All those in favor? Motion carries. All right, this brings us to item number 5, appointment to the Coastal Regional Commission Aging Advisory Council. Do we have a nomination for this position?
I nominate Felicia L. Pittman.
Okay,
I'll second.
all right, we got a first and second. Any discussion?
How many applicants applied?
Three. All right, all those in favor? Motion carries. Ms. Pittman is on the board. All right, this brings us to item number 6. This is a appointment of one commissioner to the Camden County Board of Health. Normally, the chair sits on the Board of Health, but that doesn't have to be the case. So with that said, do we have a volunteer? All right, Mr. Goodman's volunteering. Do we have a second?
Second. Wait, second and his volunteer.
Well, he's volunteering.
You're making the motion.
I'll make the motion to nominate Mr. Goodman, and
Second.
you'll second. Any discussion?
Thank you, I think.
All those in favor? Motion carries. Mr. Goodman will be on our health.
Maybe I should have recused myself, Miss Katie. Should I have recused? I'm fine to vote for myself.
All right, this time, this brings us to the appointment of 2 commissioners and 1 alternate to the Budget Committee. This time I'll make a motion to appoint myself and Mr. Reddick to the committee with Mr. Brandt serving as the alternate.
I'll second it.
All right. We got a first and second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. All right, this brings us to the acceptance of the opioid settlement agreement.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. This is to consider the approval of entry into a settlement agreement from the National Opioid Settlement Group with Teva, Allergan, CVS, Walgreens, and Walmart. The county is currently a participant in the national opioid cases, and that's located in a multi-district litigation court based up in Ohio. It's federal court. Global settlements have been reached with the above-named companies, the 5 companies. We are currently represented by outside counsel, Blasingame Birch in Athens, Georgia. If the county does not agree to the settlements with the above-named entities, we would have to engage in direct litigation with the various companies named in that. We would have to go to Ohio and litigate those cases. We would have to prove those damages. Currently, this is in the nature almost of a class action settlement. There are numerous counties and cities in Georgia that are involved in this litigation, and the representatives that we have in Blasingame Birch represents a number of those folks. It is their recommendation that we do enter into these settlement agreements. The exact amounts are yet to be determined, and there is a state process that this money will have to go through. 75% of the proceeds are retained by the state and distributed on a district basis, and I think we've got 43 counties in our local district that we are involved with. Funds will be flowing to the counties through that process. We get 25%. We've already collected almost $100,000 from other entities that we've already settled with, Johnson & Johnson being the primary. And there are rules that have been established for distribution of those funds through the counties in that settlement. So in order to streamline the process, our outside counsel is asking that we approve the entry into this settlement agreement and that we be bound by the state agreement, which is going to distribute the majority of the funds.
All right, thank you. All right, can I get a motion on this item?
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion that we join in the acceptance of the opioid settlement agreement.
Second.
All right, got a first and second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I made a mistake a while ago when we voted on the PSA with the sheriff's office. I meant to abstain because of conflict of interest. Can we make sure that gets in the? Okay, thank you.
It's too late now.
Too late.
Well. All right, this brings us to what is now item number 9. Release all Spaceport records that are not either attorney-client privileged communications or restricted by federal statute or regulation. All right, the county is in the process of releasing this information now. As you know, we had to answer some stuff with the grand jury last week, so that slowed the process down. And as staff is making contact with these companies that we have NDAs with, if the company says that the NDA is no longer valid, we're going to release that information as well. Can I get a motion on this item?
Motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes. I would like to thank this board for its recent activity in releasing the records. I think it's a step in the right direction. I haven't quite determined yet whether a peripheral action of making a recommendation for a special grand jury is the appropriate thing or not, but I'll let the process solve itself. What I would like to note is that collateral damage has occurred. And I'm going to be very careful how I say this because I don't want to single out or embarrass any staff. But the staff has been absolutely wonderful in its yeoman's duty of releasing information. And it's a fire hose full of information. It comes because for 8 years, the county has denied the release of GORA. And apparently we've all of a sudden decided we can release the GORA records. So there is a tremendous backlog. And I think it would inure to the benefit of the efficiency of this county if we consider appointment of temporary staff to assist in this process. Let's wrap it up in 2 or 3 months. Let's utilize any available resources that we have in-house, but be willing to consider, upon the concurrence of the county administrator, the hiring of part-time help or whatever it takes to get this over and done with, because it is over and done with. So with a great deal of appreciation to unnamed individuals who've pulled their hair out, and I will say that it starts with the county administrator and his cooperative staff. I again would like to express optimism that we can move on to bigger and better things than what we've been dealing with for the 6 consecutive meetings that we've been dealing with it. I am tired of it. I know everyone else is. Let's get it over with. So you have your motion, and I just wanted to add that note, Mr. Casey.
All right. All those in favor? Motion carries. All right, this brings us to item number 10, which is restore funding for the Woodbine Library.
Mr. Chairman,
Hang on a second. We had an agreement. I brought that item.
Okay, go ahead.
And I appreciate the opportunity to put my support behind the Woodbine Grassroots Initiative Library. What I understand, and Mr. Turner is going to elucidate this, what I understand is that there is some background work going on, which you can add words to that if you want to, since you've been working with them, but to the end that I would like to see us support this library. If we at all possibly can do that legally, and I understand there's discussions about additional board members that are being held with the founders of that library. And Mr. Turner, if you would like to take it from there, thank you.
I'm simply going to make the motion that we table this until both parties have agreed on an MOU. Both parties are looking at this. I spoke with Clint today for quite some time over the phone. He didn't want us to do this tonight. He wants to look at the MOA, have his board to look at the MOA, and then we come back together with the county administrator, make sure that we're all in agreement, and then carry forward with this. I too am 100% in favor of the Woodbine Library as well. But until then, we're going to table it if that's
Well, we
okay.
gotta vote.
Make a motion.
Your motion is to table it.
Table it until both parties have agreed on the MOA.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we got a first and a second. Any more discussion?
Yeah, I would just like to submit the resolution that enabled the Woodbine Library into the minutes of our meeting tonight. You know, I am 100% in supporting a funding endeavor towards the Woodbine Library, but I would like the city of Woodbine to participate since they legislatively created the library. So I think there's some, you know, as you mentioned, some background work going on, and hopefully we can come to a decision in a near future meeting.
All right, we got a first and a second. All in favor? Motion carried. All right, this brings us to our new number 11. And Mr. Goodman, you want to take that?
Yes, I do. It's unfortunate that in a visit to the Attorney General's office made by the High Sheriff, Mr. Jim Proctor, and Chief Detective Byerly, that the Attorney General's office was apparently unaware that a process had changed, and neither he nor DA Higgins bothered to inform us. And we've been spinning our wheels with a resolution. We've delivered the mail to the wrong address. The process is that there is now a, I don't have it written down here. I can't remember what the PAC stands for. It's like
Prosecuting Attorney's Council.
I got it in stereo. Prosecuting Attorney's Council now is the correct address to deliver that mail. And I would like to invite Sheriff Proctor or Chief Byerly to come to the podium and tell us, you know, how this changes things for us, because we need to keep moving. I'm going to keep talking while you're walking, Sheriff, unless you're coming over here to bracelet me. But the fact is that we don't want to see this thing toll out. So please keep us on track.
Now, so the statute of limitations is looming rapidly on the horizon. When we went to Atlanta and talked to the Attorney General, they could have at that time told us that they can't do what we were requesting. The Prosecuting Attorney's Council would be the right avenue. Nobody told us. Keith Higgins, our district attorney, reached out to me recently. We had lunch and we discussed it. And he actually gave me a name and a phone number of who to contact. And Chuck and I we're supposed to call him tomorrow morning and hopefully get some movement in this. It's been sitting stale, and it's been very frustrating for us. There's approximately, where's Chuck? It was at 3.2? Approximately 3.5 million unaccounted for still. So that bothers me. Something needs to be done. Somebody needs to be held accountable.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you.
Chuck, did you have anything you wanted to add to that? Thank you.
I don't know if we need a motion to amend our resolution or.
I think I'd like some reassurance that this board is going to back the sheriff. And I think you're still the point man on this, Sheriff Proctor, and I want this board to take a collective vote tonight to give you what you need, and Detective Byerly what he needs to get this job done. So I would like to make a motion that we verbally resolve tonight to continue the pursuit of those who need to be brought to the justice system. I said that very carefully. I'm not out to to seek justice except through justice. So I'd like to make a motion that this board resolutely affirm and reconfirm its commitment to the sheriff in the pursuit of justice.
All right, we got a motion. Anybody want to second it?
Second.
All right, go first, second. Any more discussion?
Mr. Chairman, so regarding the resolution, Sheriff, would it be better if we amended that resolution to reflect the change of the distribution of that resolution to the prosecuting attorney council rather than the attorney general? I would recommend that. I would actually recommend that be added on to Commissioner Goodman.
And I would like to adopt that recommendation because I don't want to give them any reason whatsoever to tell us that our Ts were not crossed and our Is not dotted in this process, because it's obvious to me that they were not our friend in this. For whatever reason, the judicial process up to this point has failed us. And I think we need to hold them accountable for that failure.
What, you want to re-second his?
I'll second that
Amendment?
amended motion.
Thank you.
All right, we got first, second. All those in favor? And you're going to abstain? Okay. All right. Okay, and that brings us to reports.
There's no changes to the calendar at this time.
Okay. Sean, you got anything?
No, sir, I don't. Thank you.
Okay, this brings us to additional public comments. Again, this will be limited to 3 minutes. Are any registered speakers?
Yes, I would like to speak, Kitty.
Mr. Robert Bauer.
Mr. Bauer, I'm going to do what you did to me. Old man, come on. Thank you, sir. Much respect to you.
Robert Bauer, Harriet's Bluff. I got a few things to say, but first of all, there's one commissioner on this board, not mentioning any names, that brings up something to vote on and then turns right around, turns tail and runs and votes no when he should have been voting yes. That commissioner, in my eyes, should resign. And you know who I'm talking about. Next is the, what are you grinning about? That's okay. Throw me out if you want to. And I'll just bounce right back in. I'm old enough to bounce. There was 3 commissioners up here that should resign. That's Commission Seat 1, Commission Seat 5, and Commission Seat 2. All 3 of you should go, regardless. You're not an asset to the county. You're a drain on the county. That's what you are. Exactly. And when you talk about somebody that's can stand up before people and tell them about all this here, to me, is a hypocrite. An absolute hypocrite.
Please stop with the attacks.
Pardon me?
Please stop with the attacks. If you got something to say.
Oh, I didn't mention no names now.
That doesn't matter, sir.
They did the last time we were here. And you let it roll. I'm not mentioning no names.
Just the numbers.
It's the numbers.
Just the numbers.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Numbers. 5, 6, 7, 8, who cares? I'm done.
All right, anybody else?
That's hard to follow.
Yeah, it's my turn.
She beat you.
Janet Heath, I'm speaking.
Hold on a minute.
Sorry. Mr. Goodman. I'm speaking as a public citizen, taxpayer in our unincorporated tax district. I want to thank all of you commissioners for considering the Woodbine Library, and we're getting much closer to where we need to be to reinstate the funding for 2023, to get the memorandum of understanding written so there are no longer any confusions, and then we're in a position to go forward with the 2024 budget season. I understand that there is still concern that City of Woodbine is not contributing on an annual basis, but I would like you to know that the City of Woodbine gave us a $200,000 building and turned around and put a $30,000 roof on it. They upgraded the electrical. Now, Mr. Reddick, I'm sure, even though he likes new construction, probably realizes that that is a lot of equity in a very firm building built on enough cement to support 3 fire trucks. So it's a good, solid building. The state came in with another $280,000, so we have our library building. The City of Woodbine population is 1,000 people. The unincorporated tax district is 18,000 now. City of Woodbine may send out 500 tax bills. Unincorporated district, if we're in that same ratio, probably sends 9,000. So the county is a bit more in a position to fund a library that supplements the work that's done at the Camden main library to extend those services for the county to this north end. And I think as commissioners, I'm proud that you're learning more about our public library system, because it is a real privilege to have those tax dollars come back to Camden County. Thank you.
Jim Goodman speaking as a citizen, 309 Burrell Boulevard, St. Mary's, Georgia. I want to explain why my representative on this board is adamant about the county attorney, since we couldn't put it on the agenda tonight. It's a litany of bad advice, starting with about 8 years ago, the bad advice on the spaceport. It should have been obvious by 2017 and certainly by 2019 that the FAA could, in fact, issue a license that could never be used to launch a rocket, and yet we persisted. We have bad advice on open records, obviously, because now we've decided, after denying all of these GORA requests, that we can now release those records. That's prima facie evidence that there was some bad legal advice. It has cost us much. We also have the effort to defeat the referendum in which this board sued its own citizens and its own probate court judge. Very bad day for Camden County. And the attack on the citizens was unconscionable. We have the dispute with the sheriff's office, which is an embarrassment, because we took such a strong position against adequately funding the sheriff's office that he had to file suit against his own county. Now, we have to understand during all of this that there was another character involved, and that was the former county manager. At the last of his tenure, instead of sticking around for what he had continuously told us, that the spaceport was imminently going to happen, he was out job searching. He should have been terminated at that point. We wasted $12 million on this. We can't let this happen again. We have to be better stewards of our tax money. I want to tell you something. If this board or any of its agents dares bring another spaceport consultant in here, you can bet that that man sitting in that far right chair, that Goodman fella, is going to fillet, going to dissect, going to introspect going to completely take apart everything about that spaceport consultant. It's not going to happen again. This board has fallen too many times for snake oil salesmen. I'm on the job. It won't happen again. Thank you very much. I didn't even make it to the red light.
Anybody else, Katie? Anybody from the public?
Good afternoon. I'm Janie Everett from Woodbine, Georgia. And I wanted to once again thank the Board of Commissioners for funding the Thycall Memorial Museum and to ask them to reconsider that funding to increase it to the original amount that we had requested of $45,000 so that we can staff the museum properly. For the past 10 years, it's been volunteers and working with state people, the elderly people from the state. But right now, we're unable to get people interested enough to come back under that state contract. Also, we have been seeking congressional directed funding, and we were successful in completing the application. We were disqualified under the guidelines because the area was not sanctified where the explosion happened, and it was owned by a corporation. We didn't seek that land. We sought that the federal government should fund land, the purchase of land along the interstate. So we're still working through that issue of trying to get funding to purchase the land to, as a startup, to build a museum, a larger museum, because as you know, we have over 200 different exhibits that right now they're being stored somewhere else that, because we don't have the capacity, a large enough facility to hold them. So we are trying to move forward with this national park. But whether we go to a national park or not, we're going to need a larger facility for the museum itself. And we just want you all to work with us. The resolution to have the 30 people killed at the plant recognized has passed through the Senate. It's Senate Resolution 207. I'd like to thank you all for your hard work on that initiative and pushing it forward. But we also need to come back and reconsider naming Harris Bluff Road Patriots Memorial Parkway. We have 26 miles of the interstate in Camden County, and we need to grow the industry, to promote this national park, and to honor our history. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak before the board?
Timothy Bassett, just a matter of a question on the comprehensive plan. I had my team reach out to Ms. Bishop on this morning regarding a few questions as it relates to the comprehensive plan. One question was, who are the members of the steering committee of the comprehensive plan, and who are the members of the stakeholders of the committee that the committee appointed? And how often do the stakeholders committee meet? And we didn't get a response, and I don't know whether the commissioners can answer that. And from my understanding, it's not on the website either.
If you talk to Joey, he can help you out.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak before the board?
Dave Rayner, Woodbine. I'm speaking in response to Citizen Goodman, not Commissioner Goodman, but if he's going to come down here, then he's opened it up for a rebuttal. I think it's a low blow to go after the former county administrator in the way you did with personal attacks. This is a man with a family, a wife, and a young child that had his garage door painted things on it, had bubble gum thrown out in his driveway, received personal attacks, received items in the mail. Where did it come from? It all came from an organization that was leading the charge against him. And for you to get up here, it shows a tremendous lack of integrity.
Personal attack.
Well, I'm attacking Citizen Goodman who took his badge off.
Anybody. You're
Yeah,
not supposed
well,
to attack anybody. Dave.
You attacked, Mr. Howard, and you owe us all an apology.
Anybody else wish to speak before the board? Yes, sir.
How you doing? I'm Flip Dreger. I live here in Woodbine. I just wanted to wholeheartedly support what Mr. Goodman said. 100% support him. And I agree with everything he said. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, anybody else? All right. Seeing none, at this time, we need a motion to adjourn the regular meeting and convene an executive session for the purpose of discussing items exempt under OCCG 50-14-3B4 and real estate. The first one is information technology, real estate, non-spaceport related, and litigation, non-spaceport related.
So moved.
We have a second.
Second.
All in favor? All right, we'll be back. Yeah.
reconvene the regular meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? All right, any action from the executive session?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a motion to approve the renewal of the IT contract for the amount of $140,680.86.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Motion carries. All right. Anybody want to make a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second? All in
Second.
favor? We're done.
Right.
Thank y'all for coming.